Did Vietnam, did Saigon invent noodles?
Wait, are you telling me Hong Kong food is Vietnamese food? How about that penis at Noma?
It tastes strangely penisy.
Why'd you not dip your banteng in water? Because you're not supposed to.
Wow.
That's why I'm saying the marketing is so good because like you go there and you almost become like a part of the cult.
Do you think the French get too much credit in terms of the influence on Vietnamese food?
Way too much credit, and the Chinese don't get enough. I know people like to deny that they're Vietnamese. They're not. They're all Vietnamese.
And good day. Welcome back to Break and Rice. This is Bal.
And we got Max here.
And
welcome back.
First returning guest or
First returning guest.
Honorary guest.
Bit of an early one today. Nice and early. I think last time we had a little bit too much to drink and we actually didn't realize the camera wasn't rolling for like halfway through. So I wanted to bring Jung back on the show because a lot of the comments, if you're watching us on YouTube or it's on YouTube, there wasn't any camera footage.
Right.
So a lot of people, it was getting interesting. We were like geeking out of food and a lot of people missed out on that. But the ones who really liked it followed us on Spotify. So remember, follow us on Spotify as well. But yeah, how's your weekend?
It's going good. I'm professionally hungover and
Professionally
feeling
hungover.
he's finally joining the degenerate side.
great. Yeah. I don't know, man. Like,
What's unprofessionally hungover?
you don't show up.
Touche. Very good. What'd you get up to?
Man, just went to Sushi Ray last night. Pretty famous.
Nice.
Probably the best sushi.
Probably the only sushi shop in Vietnam.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
Why do you say the only sushi shop? Because there's a fuck ton.
There's a fuck ton, but the issue is like, do you want like soy, like sweet ass sticky rice with like half cooked fish,
Or do you want good ass sushi?
like
rice
actual
rice?
sushi from a guy that's been
I've
doing it?
never been to sushi. Right? So
Well, I lost a bet, so you have to go.
one day we'll get the one day.
Honestly, real quick note about just sushi in general and just how amazing the marketing is.
Yeah,
I don't know any other restaurant I go to that I'm like, I get the bill, right?
Yeah.
And I get it. And even the person I went with, we were like, man, I thought it would be more. And you know what I mean? Like you get it and you're like, man, 11 million, that was cheap. So it's $250 per person. We're like, man, that was a cheap night.
Well,
Sushi's amazing.
11 million is cheap.
Sushi is amazing.
you need to understand the idea about Ray is that they're capturing an essence of Tokyo in Vietnam by either getting fish more often than what Vietnamese restaurants are getting,
Right.
and also getting like a proper itamae, which is
Right.
tomo.
Yeah, Itamai-san. Tomo.
Yeah.
But my thing is, it's just amazing because like you have this experience, like you're having such a good time and you still get the bill and you're like 11 million, you're like, not bad, I can come back again.
That's for two.
Yeah.
Well, you'd actually got it for
he
cheap.
probably sends
I
that for
gotta
one
fucking-
person.
I gotta
He
become
goes.
an investment banker or a bigger YouTube star to think 11 million is fucking cheap.
Dude, even the person I went with, we were like, oh man, we used to do 14, 15. We just did not come hungry tonight.
Damn. So how many slices did you get?
How many slices?
Like, ooh.
I gotta keep.
They got like different.
Real.
So they have like a 3 million, 4 million, 5 million. But I usually do something like 3 or 4. And then I'm like, Tomo, what you got? Because he's kind of like, if you go a few times, that's what I kind of like about restaurants like that too, is if you go first time, you kind of introduce yourself, but the more you go, the more insider things you get.
Yeah.
That's the difference between Sushi Ray and other sushi restaurants in Vietnam. Sushi Ray is built for your revisiting customers.
Right, exactly.
So you get restaurants that like, a few in Taoyuan that I won't mention, built so that you go in, drop your money, feel like you're being cheated and never come back.
Right,
But you get Sushi Ray, there's the first menu for everyone is the same.
right.
But every other time after that, you either get in contact with Tomo or the team will reach out to you, say, oh, you had these few items before.
Right.
This is the season for this.
And he remembers everything. He's like, I remember you had this a year ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is
he
crazy.
knows I don't like all the signature dishes at Ray, so he'll never give it back to me again. ever
Right,
again.
exactly. Like the hot dishes.
Not even the hot dishes, like like the abalone with like the uni rice and the caviar.
Typical starters. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the Ray dish to like capture all like the bottom barrel.
Right.
So it's like the most easily accessible sushi dishes. And then now he just gave me like, oh, do you want this item, like raw crabs, like giant, like kegani or matsubagani from like southern Japan or northern Japan.
Right.
It's like, oh, we have these. It'll cost an extra this much, but we can assure you like the quality is the best.
Right. That's why I'm saying the marketing is so good because like you go there and you almost become like a part of the cult. Right. Because I'm
It
serious.
feels like it, yeah.
Yeah. You just go there and you feel like you're almost like this secret hidden that nobody else gets.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I get this. The person next to you, you're like, you ain't getting this. I'm getting this.
No, it's built on the envy factor
That's
where the
what I'm
guy
saying.
next to you look and say, what is that guy eating?
Yeah. Because then when you're there, you want to be the best customer too. It's strategic where it's not many people, but they're intimate. But you see somebody getting something special, you're like, hey, no, bring that my way too. Or you want to be the top dog there. It's like
So clientele at Sushi Ray basically regulars.
Yeah, it's regulars. And then
everyone's got a different omakase.
Usually it's regulars, but there's always like a division within the room. Like there's 2 cutting boards, one's from Tomo, one is assistant.
Right.
How many seats is it?
It's 8.
8.
So 4 is by his assistant and 4 is from Tomo.
Yeah.
So whatever Tomo does, he sometimes makes sushi for everyone, but most of the time it's the assistant making 75% of the sushi for the other customers.
Unless you're sitting right in front of him.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I was last night.
So 11 meals
VIP.
is for 2 or 1?
Oh, those are 2 people. I mean, after a time,
So
because we
5.5.
both did it 4 million, right? And by the time you do drinks and we added some on, it's still, I mean, I don't know. I was
So
like,
4 million omakase.
yeah.
So how many slices of fish?
I think it was like, that's 4 sashimi and then 8 sushi or something like that. And then like
usually
4 signature.
Like 4 or 6 appetizers.
I don't know, because I'm actually like, it's funny when I'm there, I'm like, okay, let's hurry up and get through this.
Yeah.
Because I'm ready to start getting the stuff afterwards.
Oh.
It sounds weird, but
Well, just do what I usually do and ask Tomo, like, you know what I like? Just give me like a custom omakase.
Yeah, for sure.
And literally like charge omakase price versus like whatever he thinks is worth it.
Yeah.
But anyways, like eat sushi is like a sporting competition without being a fucking sporting competition. Because
So
like
you're
like,
basically you're I guess the idea and what you're talking about marketing wise, you're paying more than just the ingredients in the food itself. You're paying for the whole experience. You're paying for that. Again, if you're sitting in front of him, you're getting a special treatment or whatever.
yeah,
They've made spending money competitive.
right. And
That's
then,
like the smartest tactic ever.
and then things start happening. Like the guy to your left, the Singaporean guy's like, man, try my sake.
So
It's on me."
why do you
And
think Japanese cuisine allows you, apart from the marketing, like why is it okay?
to
that?
put that price?
Yeah.
I think it's very upfront. Like other cuisines, there's a separate kitchen. You're only seeing the service aspect of it.
Yeah.
In sushi, you're seeing the hospitality, the service, the chefs, the artistry, everything in front of you, front and center.
Yeah.
That too. I mean, you break your chopsticks, a little paper, you put it down, and like I look left, I look back right, and I'm like, where'd my paper go?
So if a Vietnamese chef was to do it in a similar setting, how does that work? Is
For
it
like
okay?
sushi or actually cooking
Or
Vietnamese food?
Vietnamese food. Like he's fucking, I don't know, like Tommy. He's fucking pressing, he's making boom to order. He's
you
got a
have-
live fish and he's slicing and doing like, I don't know, putting a hot broth on it. He's doing boom ga.
There are certain chefs that are doing that, but not technically Vietnamese. I still strive for that experience in Vietnam myself and found it
Yeah.
yet. But there are chefs that are doing that, at
Yeah.
least in other countries with more developed cuisine. You look at Thailand.
Yeah.
Again, 2 number 1 guys for me is Ice from Sorn
Yeah.
and Prin from Samra.
Yeah.
Everything you eat before it comes out, they drop a plate of all the ingredients.
Yeah.
It's those ingredients that we use in a dish, and you're
Yeah.
free to just taste everything individually.
Yeah.
See, and he hits on a point that I think Japanese food does so well. They're like, here's this fish. You can only get it 1 month out of the year. We
Yeah.
took it. This is a magnificent catch because it's 12
Yeah.
kilograms. And what we did is I actually aged it for 3 weeks before you're even getting me to cut it.
Yeah.
They're so good at marketing and telling you the step and process and how special it is.
It's the ability to sell whatever product you're giving.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
certain items in Vietnam, you understand like, oh, there's a magnificent process behind it.
Yeah.
Like again, like I talk about bún mắm or lo mắm, like the mắm takes 6 months to make.
Yeah.
But you never thought about the process, like, oh, how do you source like the anchovies or the small
Yeah.
fishes that are going
So
into
if if a chef or a kitchen was to like before a meal say, hey, this is a mum that we did or we caught, blah blah blah, like a
Exactly.
fisherman
Yeah.
from I don't know, Quy Nhơn, got this fish, we fermented it for X amount of month. This is what it is in its raw form, and this is how we do it in a dish.
Yeah.
Is that the way forward? Do you think?
I think it's the most
To be-
educational way.
I think I would. Maybe I'm a outlier, but like I like the educational way. I want
Yeah.
you to take me from the point of catching the anchovy or whatever fish it is, take me through the process,
Yeah.
and tell me what's on my plate.
Because I would say like at the moment there's a lot of restaurants opening at the moment in terms of I guess modern Vietnamese and what you see on a plate. I don't really go out to these places because it's not my thing to eat, but it doesn't feel like there's a journey being told. It's just like extravagance on a plate. Like there's smoke, there's foam, there's
Well,
like
there's 2 ways
don't know.
like Vietnamese food is being marketed globally.
Yeah.
One is like, oh, this is a traditional dish. My grandmother made it.
Yeah.
I just use the most expensive ingredients.
yeah.
And the other one is like, oh, this is a Vietnamese dish. Let's put technique behind it. Let's put smoke. Let's put foam. Let's put something else that's
Yeah. And like how it's plated, there's
Spectacle.
like
Or the supersize me.
no like
exactly, yeah.
It's like how it's plated as well. Like there's
Or the super priced.
For me, like when I'm eating, like whatever's on the plate, I want to eat. And like okay, omakase, like they don't give you anything else but the rice and the fish, right?
Right.
Whereas I see like a lot of like restaurants now, they're just like, it's just extravagant on a plate. Like there's twigs, there's, I don't know, there's some type of like moss tree or whatever, and they're putting something on it. And that, are you meant to eat it? Are you not meant to eat it? You know what I mean? Like,
Right. I think I'm more of the point where like, I don't mind something small because you can focus on it, but like almost more keep it simple and just tell me the story because then it feels more special to me more than like how something looks.
Yeah. And I think Japanese food, the marketing works because at the end of the day, the item tastes good.
Yeah.
And like you can tell a story, you can tell everything about a dish, but at the end of the day, does it taste good? And 9 out of 10 times for a lot of Vietnamese restaurant, it's selling the concept for the flavor.
Right. Okay.
And when something that doesn't really like stick with you, like, oh, you could tell a bunch of words, but the food doesn't taste good. You never remembers it.
Right. I think just to back that up, I think too many people are trying to reinvent the wheel of Vietnamese food.
Okay.
And I think Vietnamese food is there already. You just need to like polish it, like use those ingredients and tell the story.
Yeah. At Sushi Ray, the menu is given to you and described in Japanese.
English, Japanese, Vietnamese, whatever you want.
Okay.
Yeah, it's trying to be the most accessible but authentic experience.
Right.
I hate using the word authentic because nothing is, but it is essentially trying to capture a slice of Japan in Vietnam by using everything that's not Vietnamese.
Because they even have like a map and they'll be like, this comes from this little, part of Japan right here. So they really, again, they tell that story.
Yeah. Yeah, we talk about this a lot in terms of like how when people come here or like as tourists or when we're living here, we're always given the easy way out. Everything's given to us in English.
Right.
Like, so don't you reckon it'll be nice if
Man.
you go to like a high-end or a Vietnamese-ish restaurant or inspired restaurant that the menu's in Vietnamese?
Man.
Or described to you in Vietnamese?
Do you know fucking, and you're going to get me on a rant right now. You're going to get me on a rant because I just see like, I see even Vietnamese like food, whatever, influence vloggers, whatever. And bánh yao.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, I like to call it a mochi sandwich. I'm like, motherfucker, get the fuck out of here.
It's not.
Exactly.
Not
like,
a fucking mochi sandwich. It's a fucking Vietnamese
Isn't it
dish.
frustrating when you see like foreign dishes being described as Vietnamese dishes? For example, like the worst one I always say is like Vietnamese pizza.
You hate that one. Yeah,
Or like the Vietnamese crepe.
It's nothing.
Like
well, like that.
At least you call it crepe.
Yeah. But I don't
Some people call
understand
it pancakes.
like what's the similarity of Vietnamese pizza? It's a fucking circle. That's the only similarity. There's nothing anything remotely the same about it.
Again, like we're going on a mindset of Vietnamese people were being too tolerant.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to like sell it to everyone. But like, again, like I like to bring the comparison between Vietnamese people and Korean.
Yeah.
Oh, yep.
Like Korean food found a way to stay incredibly true to themselves without altering anything.
Yeah.
Like you see Koreans in America, they're not changing their shit for like American.
Right.
We're cooking it for ourselves.
Right.
And Vietnamese over in America, it's like, oh, let's change this. Let's just like remove this item. Let's add this item. Let's make it so that it's more accessible.
Yeah.
And then people are going to love you. Like Tommy fucking made Boom Bum, and then people fucking love it because you just stay true to your fucking roots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You hear it a lot. You see like, what's some examples? Bánh căn, always described as udon, Vietnamese udon.
Right.
What's another one? There's like, there's a couple off the top of my head.
There's so many.
No, not bún. Bánh, was it bánh nhầy?
But yeah.
Someone described it as a Vietnamese burger. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, the same one. Somebody called it a mochi sandwich.
Mochi.
Bánh yao.
Yeah.
They called it a mochi sandwich.
It's like,
But why? Like,
a
we
lot
already
of
have
people-
like authentic pronounceable word for it. The reason why people like,
everyone keeps saying, oh, Vietnamese is hard to pronounce. Like, every language that is not your own is going to be hard to
have you heard of
pronounce.
Thai? It's fucking hard.
Yeah, you got to read it.
You just got to have this pride. And I
Yeah.
think it just becomes like, honestly, and this is the tribute to Vietnamese people,
Yeah.
especially in Vietnam, like they're too nice. They try to accommodate foreigners too much. I'm
Yeah.
like, be true to yourself and let foreigners like figure their own fucking way out.
Like you look at Japan, you go to a restaurant, 2-3 Michelin star, no English
No
spoken. You
English.
speak like great Japanese as like a foreigner, and it's like as you fucking should.
Yeah.
Exactly. I love it. Same Korea. You go to Michelin guide places, there's no fucking English menu.
Yeah.
You're like, 저기요, 밥 주세요. You know what I mean? You're just like, can I please have a rice? So like, oh, yes.
But for me, like some part of that is endearing, at least for Vietnamese people. Like you look at it, it's like, oh, Vietnamese people, warmth, hospitality. But at the same time, if they're trying to accommodate anyone, you don't have that pride to really push forward.
Right.
For sure.
Like you look at Vietnamese restaurant, it's like the most famous popular Vietnamese restaurant is taking the street foods, the more, what do you think, unsanitized version of Vietnamese cuisine, and then trying to sanitize it and make it so that it's appropriate for tourists.
Yeah.
There's no like serving dishes that are like weird. You know, like
Yeah.
you don't see like a refined version of balut or like trứng vịt lộn, you know?
Yeah.
Because like
Why not?
I don't understand why. It's delicious.
Delicious, yeah. Have you had it with a little MSG, a little salt, and the green little bird's eye chili?
Ooh, yeah, and like
Mine is a
rau rau.
chili or raw rum. Yeah.
Maybe just a little bit of acid from a tak or chan or
Ooh,
something like
yeah.
that.
I've actually never tried it with acid.
It's great, like because you get the richness, the umami from the thing, and then you get the one that's young enough where it's
Right.
like the meat and the bone are super tender. Oh, so
Like in Philippines, they just
Geeking out over
put white
a fertile
vinegar on it. In the
duck eggs.
Philippines, is really good too.
Yeah.
They put like a chili white vinegar on it. It's really
Yeah.
nice.
oh my god.
I've definitely been like more mindful, especially like the more pop-ups I'm gonna be doing. I'd like the menu to be leaning more towards like I'm not cooking. I never like to say I'm cooking Vietnamese food. It's always Vietnamese inspired. So if I'm using a Vietnamese ingredient or the dish is inspired by a certain region or area, I'll put that word in with the with actual accents as well.
Right.
Especially
And you have to do it correctly. Don't do the Michelin guy shit.
Like the wrong fucking accent.
enough about them.
Okay.
Rent free in my head. You've been eating at any interesting places apart from Sushi Ray or
Like in the
interesting dishes?
streets?
Yeah, anywhere. in Vietnam.
Oh no, not really. I struggle with this in Vietnam. It's like I want to keep trying new places, but man, I'm like, Auntie's gonna be pissed. I have not seen her in a minute. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
How many aunties do you know now?
Oh, hey, my level of like judging how comfortable Auntie is with me.
Yeah.
How much does she hit me?
True. That is very true.
That's very true.
If Auntie starts hitting me, I'm all right. I'm in.
You're in.
She starts beating the shit out of me. I'm like, yeah, she likes me.
Man, I need to travel with you. I don't even get to that level.
Right. It's white privilege.
Again,
like
exactly. Again, like I tell everyone,
yeah.
it's like Vietnamese food. We need a white guy. Max is our white guy. He just needs to like put on a jacket, hire a couple Vietnamese people to cook for him, and he just like be the
just put a
face of it.
chef's coat.
Exactly.
I can be your fucking little bitch if you want. Because they all have, all the white chefs have a little bitch. Speaking of, actually, I want to talk about. Been going to Chinatown a little bit, and something I realized was so there's this word in Vietnam that describes a lot of not describes, but they name themselves after it. I've been trying to figure that out for years, and we had this recently. You pointed it out. Oh, it's gay in Cantonese. I was like, but it's gay in Vietnam because it never clicked,
Right?
Because of the pronunciation, but it's the same character. And then I was like, hang on a minute, yeah, that makes sense. And then a little bit more research. What I found was a lot of the noodle shops in Chinatown or in Vietnam, in Saigon, they've been around longer than a fair few more of the more popular ones in Hong Kong.
Right.
I found that really interesting because because
Vietnam-
Mac Gay, like Max Noodles and stuff like that, I think they've only been around since like 1960.
70s.
1970s.
Remember Max Noodle was 78? I remember?
And a lot of the ones in Chinatown have been around for like minimum, I would say 70 years.
Right.
That's crazy. Like, so my question
I
is,
think in Vietnam at least.
did Vietnam, did Saigon invent noodles?
Wait, are you telling me Hong Kong food is Vietnamese food?
I don't know. I'm just putting the question out there. What came first?
Gotta tell Danny that, man.
The egg or the chicken? Well,
man.
what came first?
I know.
But yeah, interesting, no?
Speaking of Hong Kong food, I'm always amazed Hong Kong's food's so good when I go back.
I just came back from Hong Kong. Those like the best 3 days of
he's-
eatings in the last year for me.
Especially when you hit the
don't
mom
know
and
about
pop
Vietnamese,
shops,
yeah.
like they want you to order and get out so fast. You're like, man, these people don't give a fuck. And then the food's so good. You're like, how's the food good? Because it acts like they almost like don't give a shit, right?
Yeah.
Well, because they only care about what they're doing.
Right.
I love how in Hong Kong at least there are those micro specialization shops where he's like, oh, it's a roast meat shop, but we only do char siu.
Right.
We only do suyak. We only do suckling pig.
It's just crazy because I think Hong Kong may come off like the aunties, uncles, like they don't care, but man, they care so much because you can taste it in the food. It's like their way of showing the love. They don't show the attitude and the service.
Yeah.
But man, when you eat that food,
And you say it's good. and it's
oh
like,
man,
we know.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, no shit. Get out of here, white boy.
Well, but
I don't need your opinion, white boy.
That's probably why. Yeah, there's so many British people around. They're like, "Fuck these guys," and over here, I was like, "Oh, we welcome you."
But I love like the Hong Kong like thing where it's just like they can tell if you're like British Hong Kong or like Hong Kong.
Yeah,
Right.
It's like you walk in with like all clad out in like designer stuff and it's like, get out, white boy, even if you're like Asian.
I wish they'd be like that here.
But like, I love how Hong Kongers are so proud of their cuisine. Because I visited a bunch of like modern Hongkongese restaurants.
Yeah.
Like right now, prime example is Wing.
Wing,
It's like a rediscovery of Cantonese Hong Kong cuisine through the vernacular of a chef that's lived overseas and then moved back.
Yeah.
Where it's a celebration of proper technique, proper ingredients, proper sourcing, everything.
Yeah.
Trying just to showcase Cantonese cuisine.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like that pride in their own food.
But he's not doing it in. I've never been, but from what I know,
look at
Vicky,
Chairman,
he doesn't do it in terms of like tasting menu.
No, everything's family style.
It's family style.
Everything shows
Like,
up all at once.
In a way, it's fine dining.
It is fine dining in the. Well, again, it's a question: is it fine dining?
What
the
is fine
food,
dining?
the
Yeah.
atmosphere, the plateware,
Yeah.
the price point? It is a fine dining price point for sure. You're
Yeah.
paying 4,000 Hong Kong dollars per person.
Wow.
$500.
Yeah, but what you get is one of the most mind-blowing meal you've ever had. Just because is this guy who's demonstrating his love for Cantonese cuisine as a top chef, training at all these best kitchens in the world and coming back saying like, I'm proud to cook my food.
Yeah.
And right now, I don't see that dedication or that love for Vietnamese cuisine
Yeah.
here. You look at Vicky, who's like, oh, I train with Daniel Boulou, but my love falls squarely within Cantonese cuisine.
Yeah.
And then like you get guys like Danny, who's like, oh, I love Hong Kong cuisine so much. I'm trying to change the way people think about ingredients.
Yeah.
Not just fish, which is it's like a live catch culture in Hong Kong is insane, but he's changing like vegetables.
Yeah.
It's on an afterthought.
Yeah.
Protein, it's on an afterthought. Sourcing, it's on an afterthought.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy how like these chefs love their culture so much. Whereas in Vietnam, I don't quite see that level of love for Vietnamese cuisine quite yet.
I think from my experience, hanging out with more of like the local chefs, the young guys, it's the logistics.
Yes, exactly.
There's no like Hong Kong. It's easier to get produce in terms of you're surrounded by sea. You go to Saigon, that's amazing.
some
It's close.
islands. Yeah,
it's close. It's like 30 minutes away. Whereas Saigon, like you're smack bang in the middle of the metropolis. You're not going to get amazing
that's one thing
seafood.
that's pretty
to
crazy.
get seafood from Phu Quoc, it's impossible.
Yes.
Fresh. To get things from Quy Nhon, it's even more
it's impossible without paying the correct price.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between Hong Kong for me.
Right.
It's like Hong Kongers are so willing to pay.
Yeah. But like in terms of logistics as well, it's like it's gonna be cheaper from Saigon to like Central
Yes.
than from Quy Nhon to Saigon. Like
And I'm not going to, this is
Yeah.
a whole topic for another day, but like how you farm too.
yeah.
How
Exactly.
you fish
Yeah.
is very different.
Yeah, because there's no the rules and because in Hong Kong there's I can't remember. I think there's 2 months out of the year where you're not allowed to catch or fish.
Right.
So it allows Mother Nature to replenish to like.
You
fish
can only
to-
catch a certain size.
Yeah, here is like fuck. If it wiggles, no matter how small,
Right.
you fucking eat it.
Oh, it's like Vietnam. It's like, oh, it's a baby. We want that.
Yeah. So I get a lot of these questions. Everyone's always asking me, "Oh, can I have a list of where to eat?"
Right.
You know what else is a list?
Fuck, no, stop it.
Oh,
It's in English too, so you don't have to like.
But I don't know how to tackle this because I think list or like places you like to eat. It's so subjective. Then what's the best place to eat? And it's like how do you even figure that? Because I haven't eaten at a lot of places in Vietnam. I haven't been to Tăng Binh. I barely go to District 8, District 7. So I don't know. I'm pretty sure everyone always asks you this.
yeah.
How do you respond?
Oh, where should I eat when I'm in Vietnam?
Please take me, right?
Yeah, can you take me around for a day?
Yeah.
I get that one a lot. But yeah, it's really hard when there's like, where should I eat in Vietnam? Because I'm like, I walk outside and take a right. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I always tell people Google Maps is an excellent source.
There are some hidden gems you can't find on Google Maps, but
Yeah, but they're
8 times out of 10, it's pretty nice.
you don't necessarily need to eat at these places,
Right.
Because they're hidden for a reason. Because like it's not enough people have gone to it yet.
Well, the fact they only make like 100 portions a day.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like you talk about like that 3-hour windows of like when food is like
Yeah.
available for
It's
that
so-
specific stall.
So this is like the bane of my existence in Vietnam. The 3
Yeah.
hour. What is this 3 hour window, Max?
Okay, 3-hour window is like the window that you can get an auntie, uncle, whatever, anybody selling something.
Yeah.
Right? So pretty much what it is. You usually get like in shifts throughout the day.
Yeah.
You have the freaking crazy auntie and uncles that are like 5 a.m. to like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
I don't make it to those as much as I should. But then you have like almost like these little windows breaks where it's like everybody's kind of relaxing.
Yeah.
Like I find between 10 and 11, there's not quite as much, but then you have like 11 to 2, and then 2 to 4, you have another break, and then dinner picks up around 4:35. So you always have these little breaks, these little windows where you can go get food. And the worst is when you're in Vietnam and it's like you're at a lunchtime window, right?
Yeah.
And you're craving something that was at the breakfast window.
Yeah.
And you're like, ah.
And most of the good stuff
Missed
is at the breakfast window, but it's like most of the time I'm not even hungry.
It's not the food you
Like-
want to eat at that time,
Yeah, like
but it's the best
5 in
time.
the morning for one of the, like the most delicious corn dums. Like
Or like 6:30 a.m. for like
one
pho.
eye open, I
Right.
was like, I don't know how I can travel all this way to eat it. Like I'd want to, but yeah, it's just 3 hour window. I got told also the 3 hour window is also because of like rent. There was like the local, the ward police only allows a certain number of hours for a vendor to be out, and also so they're subjected to that, and also they can only make so much. And it seems to be like this way to make money to break even is you'll sell out by a 2.5 hour.
Right.
So it's it's a 3 hour window. See,
Yeah, it's a 3 hour.
how much they can produce as well.
If you want to go back to like why street food is what it is, you can trace a lot of it back to trying to avoid paying taxes or rent or something like that. You know, like So a lot of it's just trying to, you mainly make very slim margins as it is. You can't be getting hit with rent and taxes and all that too.
Yeah, it's allowance of how much time that street corner or that side street you're allowed to be on there from the local water. That's what I'm told.
But going back to like what to eat around Saigon, that's hard because it's also like where are you staying? What do you like to eat?
Yeah.
There are some Vietnamese dishes I eat a lot, and there's still some Vietnamese dishes I don't eat that much.
Yeah.
And also, what is Saigon known for? What is it good? Like you go to Vietnam, 9 out of 10 people like we want pho.
Yeah.
But like, is pho a Saigon dish? There's Southern pho,
Yeah.
which is a different breed of pho.
Yeah.
But would you argue that is like a best representation of pho?
See, to me, like if somebody said, "What do you eat in Saigon?" I would not take them for pho.
Yeah, me too.
Where would you go?
I mean, definitely Cam Thum is always the number one. Hủ
Right.
tiếu,
Yeah.
hủ tiếu. We both said that one.
So
Bang Canh Cua, like Saigon style. That's
not,
one that's up there.
Not like what was it the
Really?
white?
You would say bun kan ko?
It's everywhere, especially if you're in Chinatown. It's
I'll
literally.
be completely honest. I've probably only eaten it once.
Oh, it's so good though.
It's good, but it's not something like. I guess for me, it just doesn't significant. I'm not gonna even say that. Doesn't even represent Saigon to me.
See, to me, you got to do something also like, really? Your comment just hit me because it was so like abstract. You got to do something like a bun sale because you got to have the experience of getting all the vegetables and herbs and wrapping it and rolling it. So you got to do something like that.
Yeah.
To me, you got to do something that has some type of Chinatown influence because it's such a big part of Saigon.
Yeah, you get a hủ tiếu cá, that stuff's so good.
Yeah. So, I mean, whether it be like the gà hấp muối or something like that, something down there where you're sitting down with a bunch of people, you got to have that experience. I mean, I'd go on. I can make an easy list of 10 here.
Yeah.
I think like, you'd be like, oh, no, they need to try like bún bò Huế. But like to me, bún bò in Saigon is very significant because it's changing so much, right?
It's almost every corner is selling bún bò.
Right. It's the hot thing to do.
Well, it's also like, again, it's the more popular dish right now because like, we don't want to be the basic person. We don't want to get pho. Let's get the bún bò. But like, again, for me, it's depending on which region you like bún bò. For me, bún bò in like central Vietnam, Da Nang is superior.
Right. See, and I don't know. Some people I feel like really like that that very strong bún bò, like lots
punchy,
of lots of lemongrass, lots of just pork and beef and just really fatty.
It's funny you say that. Like when I was eating bún bò in Hue, it was very like clean.
It's a it's a clean broth, but elegant.
Very elegant, aromatic, and to me, I found it more delicious.
Right.
I agree. For me,
Yeah.
that is the more true to what bún bò should be, at least for me, because again, you compensate for lack of flavor and ingredient with fat, with spices, with other things.
But can you imagine cooking that style outside of Vietnam?
There's one restaurant in
People
Saigon
will be
that does
like,
it.
"That's
Where?
in Saigon." I mean,
Don't fall.
outside of Vietnam, like if you did that light, elegant flavor in America or in
You can. I mean, you see the bún bò and the pho that do well in America, right? It's the beef short ribs. It's the,
that's what I mean.
yeah.
You got to go super size meal, like super punchy.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
then if you don't, people are gonna be like, "Oh, that's not authentic."
not worth the money or
Yes.
something.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I hate the word authentic. I hate it so much. It's like, what is authentic?
Exactly. Authentic is more. I think you had this quote about it. I totally forgot what you said.
Authentic is a flavor profile. It's whoever is cooking it, not is the ingredient or the dish or the recipe.
Yeah.
Right? If a grandmother, like again, like Rich Teresi from like Teresi in New York said the best. It's just like if an Italian grandma moved to New York and tried to replicate the flavor of her home country,
Yeah.
she wouldn't use fish flown in from the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
She'll use like local sea bass.
Right.
Actually, we had this conversation, and I actually put it in my in my notes. It was actually really good though, because I want to use this someday. Authenticity is a reference point.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's a beautiful quote.
So speaking of reference points, how would you show somebody Saigon food?
Well, for me at least, you
Yeah,
break down what is Saigonese.
Yeah, what is Saigonese? But I just tell people, because myself, I just use Google Maps. It's wherever you are at that point of time or that day, just look on the map, what's around you, and just go there. Like,
Right.
you don't have to read the reviews. Obviously, you can read. I just look at some of the photos, but I always use Google Maps because time.
Right.
To see what time they're open. If there's no time, I just give them a call. Are you open? Blah blah blah, and just try it. You're the best judge of any dish or any flavor is yourself.
Right.
Not like someone can tell you where to go eat, but their flavor profile is different to you. Everyone has their own flavor. Everyone's
Right.
unique, right? So you gotta judge by yourself.
Which is going on. Like when people ask me where should I eat, I say, what do you like? Do you like spicy food? Do you like sweeter food? Do you like saltier food? Do you like a lot of MSG? Do you like? So many questions you have to ask.
It's like my least favorite thing when someone asks for a recommendation. Is it clean and do you use MSG? It's like, no, it's
I
not.
can't believe you replied to that. I can't believe you talked to that person.
There's a lot of like, I don't know. I think for me, MSG is integral ingredient, an important ingredient in Vietnamese cooking. A lot of people may disagree, but I think we spoke about this before, but there's this flavor sensation that it can't be mimicked by like even mum or like
Soy sauce.
soy sauce. Like it just hits at the back of the gland, and it just can't. So you need
it's
it.
like richness, like
But
cream.
that's like anything. You use it in moderation. Like too much salt is not good for you. Too much sugar, too much of anything is not good for you. So apart from wine, but
Natural wine.
Never enough wine.
but yeah, it's just people just gotta understand that it's really hard, and actually, I think there's a place where if you're new to Vietnam or new to Saigon, I think there's one place I think people should go to, because it's really accessible. Bánh xèo, bún xèo at
Yeah.
46A. I think that's very accessible because
Because they write the
It's
menu
still
in so many
traditional.
different languages.
it's different languages.
But also everything they do is extremely well.
Everything. It's a pretty extensive menu, but it's a good representation of Saigon as well. Like bánh xèo you spoke about, they got bollard up, beef beetle
You
leaf.
get wood fire.
Grilled river prawns.
Everything's done over wood fire as well.
Right.
They have one of the best jayo, I would say, my favorites.
Nem Cube, right? The
Yeah.
Nem Vuong. Oh, so good.
So, and it's approachable. Yeah, it is pricey, but you're paying for it.
You're paying for the wood, the time, the dedication, the ingredients,
because it's
the
actually
sourcing.
really good. And a lot of people was like, oh, but like, it's touristy. It's like, well,
For a reason.
J5 is touristy, but it's still good.
but people go there because it's good.
Right.
Don't think that it's touristy. It's just, it's good. So that's why people go there.
I
Right.
don't
If it was
find the
bad, I don't think
obsessions
people would
with
go there.
tourists going to a country. I want to find the next hidden gem.
Yeah.
And I will
there's
go
a
on
lot
the
of
most
this.
popular guide to find it.
Let me tell you something.
Max.
Let me tell you something though. When you go to countries though, and you are trying to find that hidden gem, you're going to end up probably eating more mediocre meals than you are
Yeah,
the really
exactly.
good ones.
Yeah, because a lot of people say, bánh xèo 46A. You can get cheaper ones or somewhere around the corner, some lady, but it's not as good. It's not as crispy. You don't get like the herbs aren't as clean thoroughly. The filling's not as nice.
I mean, you may get some crazy uncle with the shirt off smoking a cigarette, and that may make your experience. I like that
it's
too.
a different experience.
That
Yeah.
just matters what you want. You're
But
going
the fight that happened, that makes the experience.
Yeah.
right. Like
Where
I'm gonna
would
fight.
you send someone if you had one place in the city?
Could not do it. Could not pick one
I
place.
just did it. You made me do it.
You didn't. You picked Panseo, huh?
Bánh xèo 46A, yeah. If I was to introduce someone
I
to
didn't
the
make
city,
you. You did it yourself. You brought it on yourself, actually.
but you asked me, I answered.
He has a street cred to keep up.
Yeah,
For me,
come
it's super easy. It's Restaurant 13.
restaurant.
right.
That's also a very good.
But it's not street food.
Yeah.
It's a different area of Vietnamese cuisine. It's home cooking. It's regional specific cooking. It's a restaurant. But they are doing stuff I call like hyper focused fermentations, where it's just like, oh my god, everything's done in house. It's better than what Noma is doing. It's so fucking intense, and it's not the most
than what Nova's doing.
Man,
much better.
You heard it here first. Vietnamese street food fermentation better than Noma.
It's okay.
Yeah, even like
we don't make you eat reindeer penis.
But honestly, like
what?
Yeah, that's what happened at Noma.
Why gee, fucking reindeer penis?
That's one of the newer menu. I stopped going since they reopened Noma 2.0.
I feel like you can put anything in a fucking floured plate or with like herbs and whatever.
You can tie a bouquet to it, you know.
And people still fucking lose their shit. Fucking gush between the legs. And like,
how about that penis at Noma?
It tastes strangely penisy.
Like, I don't know. Is anyone gonna eat that and have that experience and say it was bad? Hardly ever.
Hardly ever.
Yeah.
But again, like in terms of like nourishment, food, flavor, you go to 13, you know that they do all their ferments in house.
Yeah.
They've been doing it for longer. My grandparents used to go to that restaurant.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, it's one of those restaurants where it's hidden off the beaten path. It's somewhere in District 2. You get the most incredible fermented fish hot pot.
Yeah.
The cá tai tượng chín sủi with the mắm nem that they make.
Yeah.
The bánh khọt, like the nem nướng, the chao tom, like even the home cooked dishes are so delicious. But again, would you recommend that as like a first person introduction to Vietnam? Unlikely, but if you are into food and you know food and you like food, it is one of the most amazing meal you'll ever have.
Yeah.
The same vein as like Din Kong Chang, where it's like you can go to other places with those dishes.
Yeah.
But they don't do it quite as well. The ingredients.
Yeah, and I think also like Din Kong Chang or Bun Sale 46A, it still has that street food vibe that people always wanting. It's in an alleyway, it's an open kitchen.
Yeah. Open kitchen concept.
It's an open kitchen concept.
Not one of us has even said banh mi or anything. I mean, there's just so much in Vietnam. It's crazy.
Banh mi, yes.
Speaking of banh mi, what type of banh mi is like, what's your banh mi?
Central Vietnam. That's the key.
Central Vietnam.
Oh, so explain it for people who don't know what a Central Vietnam banh mi is.
It's again, first quality banh mi.
Right. You like the bread, right?
The bread.
Okay.
And just, I like less. Less is more.
Balance.
A Saigon banh mi is an overabundance of luxury.
Yeah.
There's every type of chả known to man. There's the pate, the chả bông, all the fucking vegetables. And it's just like, banh mi huân hoa, you just take a bite in it and you dislocate your jaw.
Yeah. And I'm a greedy son of a bitch. I do like that kind of stuff for
It's
banh
like
mi.
you look at it, it's like, fuck, am I eating a banh mi or am I eating a burrito? You look
Yeah,
at it.
exactly. And like,
This is the path that I got to reference. Australian banh mi's are going down as well. They're just like fucking humongous, packed with, and people judge it like if it's not packed like this, then it's not an authentic banh mi. It's so sad to hear that.
like I love banh mi quay and like Hai Phong, like those tiny one biter, and it's just like intense.
You order
pate.
like 20 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the variations of banh mi, there are so many other ones. I
It
love
is.
banh mi chả
I love-
ông tí in Da Nang.
That's something people
So
don't
good.
realize. Like banh mi, there's some variations to it.
Yeah. And honestly,
there's no such thing as an authentic banh mi.
people that do that banh mi quay and do like
Because banh mi means bread.
popcorn, like the combination, right?
Yeah.
Sucks ass. Like I just like the traditional versus like pate and that fucking Hai Phong hot
Chili
sauce.
sauce.
Chili sauce, so good. Vinegar, spicy.
Yeah,
Pate,
and
so
the
good.
the big
about you?
region banh mi. I'm the same with him because of the bread.
Right.
I'm not a big fan of the style of bread that's being made here in
Like the
Saigon at the
hyper
moment.
thin crust with like
yeah,
the
like the
powdery
the-
white
Yeah,
center.
because I don't know what I'm eating.
Right.
Like if I'm eating bread, I want to taste dough. I want to taste bread.
Okay.
Whereas like it's flavorless. It's almost like I don't know, plastic cardboard type of thing. And it's too packed. Whereas ones in like Hoi An or Da Nang or something like I think it's very well balanced. Packed with a lot of things in terms of like there's herbs. There's like it's not just coriander.
The chili sauce is really nice
Chili
too.
sauce is nice. Yeah, I'm not a big chili person, but when they put the chili in it as well, and the ones in Hoi An and Da Nang, they put like raw rum.
Right.
They put like sometimes they put hung quay and stuff like that. So I find that really nice. It doesn't just have to have coriander,
Right.
So I think for me, I think what people need to understand is also banh mi just means bread. Yeah, the traditionally or the well-known has like cold cuts, pate, but not every banh mi needs to have pate. Not every banh mi needs to have mayonnaise. But
Well,
I don't know,
clearly
you?
not. Yeah, I mean, there's so many.
No, but
types
you
of
get
mummy.
this comment all over outside of Vietnam.
Right.
Because they'll get like, I don't know.
Well, they also
bunny-
think there's one type of fucking bancang too. So I didn't.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Oh,
Why'd you dip your bancang in water? Because you're supposed to.
and why
Why'd you not dip your bancang in water? Because you're not supposed to.
Wow. You woke up on the wrong side of the bed today.
I didn't,
So
man. I get so many comments that are like, "Hey, you're not supposed to dip your bancang in water." Hey, you didn't dip your bancang in water? Yeah, because Auntie Ari told me how to do
Yeah.
it right here. Trust me, the auntie who's staring at me right now is not going to let me eat this wrong.
There's so many types of like anything in Vietnam.
yeah.
Again, there's like over 50 provinces, and every provinces do something different.
Yeah.
Even minutely, but it contributes to the final product.
Yeah.
Many people from at least travel to America or other countries, mentioning America specifically, because they're all from a specific region, at least when they travel from the period of like the late 70s.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's just like all of them are used to a certain region of cuisine, and they grew up being second, third, or fourth generation Vietnamese,
Yeah.
are not really exposed to like the micro regional cuisine of Vietnam.
Yeah.
Right.
So their reference point, there's only one way to do something.
Right.
But in a sense, like you live in Vietnam, you understand like, oh my God, there's so many different ways. Like even a banh mi.
What if I said, "Hey, let's go eat some bún cá"? What would you say? Be like, what type?
What type?
Yeah, where the
Yeah.
hell? Yeah, jeez.
Where? Like bún cá Nha Trang with the jellyfish, or bún cá in the north with
King
like,
Yang, or like where you mean? I mean, that's all the way to the top to the south.
Because
Right
there's
there.
also like, is it? I sort of sometimes wish descriptions in Vietnam were a little bit better.
yes,
Yeah, bún cá is like the bún bò is just like
beef
well,
noodle.
yeah, you know what I mean. Whereas if there was like other descriptions to it, I guess it'd help a lot.
Yeah, it'd be
when you
about this
describe
fucking long too.
it. Yeah, because there was 2 words to describe 1 word.
Yeah.
Do you think something I always want to ask people? Do you think the French get too much credit in terms of the influence on Vietnamese food?
Way too much credit, and the Chinese don't get enough.
Exactly, because like I wanted to talk about this a little bit because you were saying people should go to Chinatown to eat some of the places because they've been around for like centuries, in Chinatown to do, and I just sort of feel a lot of the dishes in Vietnam are highly influenced by Cantonese cuisine, but there's always this infatuation that the French brought so much to Vietnam.
Like beef.
Like look,
Fucking hell.
people attribute the pho to like
that's- okay.
French.
Yeah.
It's like
To any-
Vietnam has been ruled by China for 1,000 years. You think they bring the noodle culture here?
No, but it's just so naive, the statement of the French taught Vietnamese people how to eat beef or brought beef to Vietnam. You're talking...
What's funny is like then
It's such a... as a Vietnamese person, if you're going to hear this, I think you should be offended.
well, honestly, what I don't get too is when they say, "Well, look at the Vietnamese language. There's lots of French words." Like, pfft, have you compared Cantonese and Northern Vietnamese before?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You know,
like
like the
spitting images.
original Vietnamese like alphabet.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
There's only there's only there is a lot, but there's not as much. But in terms of like, in food, like I can't name maybe more than 5 things that are, I guess, French, Vietnamese. I don't know.
There's
Anything
definitely a lot, but I feel
I
like
can
the
only think of, like,
most
banh mi and
intense
pad thai.
like representation of Vietnamese cuisine has been from Asian countries.
Yeah.
It's like again, like Koreans like to think like, oh, we are dominated by America for food. Like we have a lot of American culture. The only thing I can tell is fucking Buddha jjigae.
You eat processed meat and American sliced cheese. Hell yeah.
Exactly.
It's crazy. Like, I don't know. Can you guys think of any other dishes that are French? I can only think
Like
of.
ragu, stuff like that. Baham, stuff like the very clearly Saigonese dishes.
Yeah.
Because Saigon's been French for a lot longer.
Yeah.
But even then,
But then a lot of people are going to say that Hanoi is as well. Because, like, the architecture,
Old quarter.
Old
Oh gosh, go to
Quarter.
old quarter.
I left with this joke where it's like, like that South American cousin who's like 1/16 European and they say like they're Italian. That's Hanoi.
Mamma mia.
That's Hanoi.
Yeah.
Hanoi people like to deny that they're Vietnamese. They're not. They're all Vietnamese.
I think, from when I'm trying to, like, figure out why this is the case, but I think a lot of people just come down to the point that the French came and they left.
Yeah.
The Chinese came and they
stayed.
They still got their foot on the door
And
somewhere.
they're still kind of like
So-
knocking
Yeah,
on the door.
exactly. So I think I sort of understand that point where there's a little bit of angst towards it, but you also got to separate
Culture from politics.
Culture from politics, 100%. Yeah.
But again, like there's so many things Vietnamese people can attribute to. Like our rice culture is very similar.
Yeah.
Our noodle culture, our cattle culture, our chicken cultures.
Yeah.
And again, like even the language is predominantly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Have you ever compared Cantonese with Northern Vietnamese?
Yes.
Whether it be like bat bowl or bac sĩ, like
Yeah.
doctor, it's all freaking
Very,
very similar
very
in
similar,
Cantonese.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a different.
Honestly,
accent.
like my friend who learned Vietnamese, he already knew Chinese, and then he learned Vietnamese, right?
Yeah.
Dude, he can just sit there and compare words all day.
But we're going to like super deep like anthropology of it, where it's just like again,
Nobody cares.
Ivan will care. Ivan, this one's for you. We need to get him on. He's so fun.
Love to get anyone on. Let us know who else we should get on this
I'd
show.
love to talk to anybody who thinks sushi was originated in Cambodia.
Oh, I love it. Again, exactly.
Landlocked country, sushi.
I love him.
Let's,
down.
I don't know, like the history of food. I'd love to know more. I want to always learn more about the history of Vietnam and food. But there's no proper documentation.
Again, like
There's documentation like who ruled when, who was like, what emperor was here.
well,
what,
again, like
it's
just the
nothing
most
about
basic
food.
example, the wok.
Yeah.
Like you told me about the argument you get into where do Vietnamese people use wok? Right?
Yes.
Like the idea where it's like one of the most frequent used utensils in Vietnamese culture.
Because
Where did it come from? The French doesn't magically brought it over. They didn't introduce steel to Vietnam.
They took their saucepan and made it bigger for Vietnamese.
because the argument was on our cartoon or our logo thingy, I'm holding a wok, and then I'm not gonna name this person, but this person was like, "Why are you holding a wok? Don't you cook Vietnamese?" So I was like, "Yeah, that's why I'm holding a wok."
My mom doesn't cook with a wok.
Yeah, so, I don't know what else was I meant to be holding. Like I don't know, like a pot of pho. I don't know, but yeah, it was, this argument. We even created like a WhatsApp group for this as well, and we're constantly just like.
It's like
Sending
you go to
photos
you go to the market
of, like-
in Vietnam, just take a picture of a
Yeah,
wok.
exactly. This is what we do. It's like it's
go
a
to
joke that
somebody-
will never get old.
Somebody's house in the countryside where they got hanging all over their kitchen
A
wall.
wok.
Multiple of
It's
them.
like countryside France, where instead of all like the copper plate, where it's just like all variations of woks. You can even trace the variations of woks in the modern culture in Vietnam, where traditionally is like cast iron, super big.
Yeah.
And you get like the street Vietnamese wok, which is make like super thin steel that heats up super quickly and warps.
Yeah.
But it's like it's non-stick. It's great. It's like best for frying eggs.
No, because he was. Oh, I
No,
just
sorry, I had to.
was this person was saying that's a pan. That's not a wok. I was like,
It's like look at the shape.
that's what I was like. Is it the shape of a wok? I was like, no, it's what
Is
do
it
you fry
because
the
of
egg with?
Is
Like,
it because of the fire you cook it on? Because Vietnamese people like
Well,
we're broke as fuck, so we use like charcoal instead of the gas fire.
it's still fire.
Yeah.
No fire. I did see an uncle the other day. He had a wok, and I'm talking about the thing like looked like somebody went under the wok and like punched the shit out of it. Like it was like humped on the bottom. Like, oh, does that still work? Like, how do you? He was like
make it
frying
work.
eggs on it, and it was just like on both sides. It was like so like what is that? That's like concave. That's like convex. Whatever. Anyways,
convex.
it was like insane how messed up that wok was.
Yeah, exactly. It's like like the modern Vietnamese wok is not like the cast iron super big wok like people in China have. It's just like the super thin like shitty steel woks that you can get for like $5,000.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But they're great.
They do the job.
Stir frying noodles in that, it's faster. You don't need like 40 years of wok hay.
Damn. I would love some noodles right now.
Fuck, I want noodles.
I think we're getting hungry. Should we call it a morning
Yeah.
and go get some brunch?
Thought we were eating. Come back.
We can.
We can.
Actually, I'm fucking down for anything right now.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think it'd be so good? We'll come back.
Not bad. I like that one.
Ooh. It's so that's why they call it come back, because it's so good you'll come back. Right?
Oh my god.
And I think that's time to end it.
See you next one. Peace.
Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you're subscribed, liking us on YouTube, Spotify, and all the links are down below.
Don't give me too much shit or I'll come back.
Keep going back.
And we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Bye.